3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, lovers, and friends, welcome back to the ProdCast. Oh, wow. That's a fresh Darlene I'm cracking today for today's mystery guest, who will be revealed shortly. He actually brought us a couple of Darlenes because he, too, is a modern method drinker. Brandon.
What's up, buddy?
I want to congratulate you on air today before we get to anything else, because I think it's important to recognize those who are doing, not only by doing, but they're also giving back. Brandon's MDI Studios, along with Mike Hijari from Impression Media, presented a check today that was over $10,000, but you told me it's actually $11,000.
Right. That
went to the Second Harvest Food Bank in Mahoning, the Mahoning Valley Second Harvest Food Bank.
Yeah.
And dude, that's really something to be proud of, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, they did a really cool thing. If you guys have been following our Facebook page or the Two Ticks page or the MDI Studios page, they did signs where you could thank first responders. And they did these signs, and they sold these signs at no profit to themselves. And the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, went to Second Harvest Food Bank. Good job, man. Kudos to you. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. You know, he's one of those guys that's giving back, that's evolving his business. Another guy that's evolving his business is Coates Car Care.
Right.
If you haven't heard, they've got an app now. So not only can you download the app for free at Wash Now, if you go to the App Store, you go to Wash Now, or if you go to CoatesCarCare.com,
right,
powered by MDI Studios, by the way, you can download the app for free. You can buy a single wash. You can buy their ultimate, their unlimited wash package. You could buy gift cards there. And then you just bring your phone, your smartphone, you put it up the window, they scan it, and in you go. The wash, once you buy the wash on the app, you don't even have to roll the window down.
I think that's great that they did that during COVID, but it's probably going to speed up the process. I think a lot of businesses out there might be thinking, like, we're doing some things that we've always wanted to kick around to, whether that's just create an app or that it's going to get people coming back. It's going to be just so simple to go there. And when you go to Coates Car Care, not to just blow them up, but when you go there, it's a car wash experience. It's a fast car wash experience. You're not sitting there for an hour, but you're not pulling up to a laser car wash and you got to like fit your car in and then a sign says reverse. I mean, you got people working on your car, like scrubbing the front, getting the bugs off.
Right.
You know,
they line you up, get on the track, right?
You know, I love Coates Car Care. And they got, 4 or 5 locations now?
5 locations. Austintown, Niles, Hallen, Cortland, and Hermitage, Pennsylvania. Speaking of an experience, because our mystery guest now resides in Cortland, where they've put a new Coates Car Care. Dude, it's like a disco. Like, you go in, it's like, they should be playing music.
It's from the future.
My son loves it. He's like, Dad, are we getting like the full meal deal? Because I'm cheap. I get like I don't get
real quick.
Yeah. I go to like the middle one. Okay. I don't get the express exterior, but I don't get like the Super Duty one either. Sometimes I do. But dude, when you get that Super Duty one, dude, there's lights. It's like a light show. There's bubbles and stuff. Like when we were making the commercials for it, he's like, Dad, let's go through again. I'm like, yeah, let's go through again. It's awesome. So Coates Car Care, visit CoatesCarCare.com. If you live in the greater Warren Youngstown, Western PA area, check out the ProdCast.net. Again, powered by MDI Studios.
Thanks.
Check out the ProdCast.net, and you can sign up for a free giveaway. We're going to pull names out of a hat. All you got to do is go to the giveaway tab on the website, fill in the information, and live on our Facebook page. You obviously got to like our Facebook page too, so you can see every Thursday before a new episode is released, we will be pulling out of the hat a winner, courtesy of Two Ticks and the Dog Productions. Two Ticks is paying for the postage, and we'll send you a Coates Car Care Express wash, and it's good at any Coates Car Care location. Brandon,
Jim, these are always one of my favorite episodes, man.
Is it time?
I think it's time to get electrified.
Oh, I want to preface this real quick, Mr. Mystery Guests. I want to preface this real quick. What you hear today, folks, this is a disclaimer, legal disclaimer, just in case any of the things we talk about have not quite reached the statute of limitations legally. if you hear a story today that you think is maybe has, ethical or criminal implications, we're not saying there will. These are just stories. Just consider it fiction. And we may change names to protect the innocent or the guilty. Because our guest today is one of my favorite humans on the planet, one of my best friends on the planet Earth. Artist extraordinaire, Mr. Berkey. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, man.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Bored in the time of COVID-19.
I've been in sweatpants for 2 months. So.
Oh, yeah.
Barry showed up to the studio today. Listen, I'm going to paint a picture of Two Ticks and the Dog above Dave Grohl Alley. Okay, we're all socially distanced. Barry and I are at least 6 feet apart. Brandon's over on the couch.
They put baby in the corner.
Yeah, baby's in the corner. He's got his shoes off. Okay, socks on. He's in his shorts. Barry showed up in sweatpants and a t-shirt, and I usually am like jeans and a t-shirt anyways, but I was like,
it's been 2 months. Yeah. All sweatpants.
All sweatpants. We're all in
I busted out my khaki shorts for the first time, and I had to look for my ironing board. I haven't even ironed in so long. I didn't even know where the heck it was.
You iron your shorts?
Well, they get wrinkly and stuff. You can't.
You don't let the wife do that?
Well, come on now. I mean, she actually is not the best. She takes care of all the laundry.
Don't let her.
Little disclaimer: she takes care of all the laundry, and it's beautiful. She asked me to iron. So if you got somebody that's taking care of all of your other stuff, I'll iron here.
My wife does not do any of that. One time, I have a certain. I'm particular. I have a certain way I want to fold my shirts.
Me too.
She folded my shirts wrong one time, and she was doing it. It was a nicey. We weren't married yet, and she was like, "Oh, I folded your shirts," and I was like, "Oh yeah." That's cool.
Danielle puts my clothes on the hanger wrong. And so I take them all down, and she's like, everyone hangs them this way. I'm like, listen, I like them this way.
I want to see what is on the front of my shirt. Renee folds them so they're like halfies, so you can't really see it. And it's like, how am I supposed to know what that is? Yeah. So I told her, and she's like, I'm never going to fold yours. You wash your own stuff. I was like, okay. Brandon can relate. I don't know if he can relate, but he's got a Greek wife.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Oh, yeah.
Lovable, but tough. Tons of fire, tons of passion. Barry, what brings you downtown today to Dave Grohl Alley?
Well, I thought I'd crawl in my house after 2 months and come visit everybody, see what's going on out in the world.
I've been trying to get Barry on since season 1. Yeah. And he's been busy.
He's in another city away from us, though.
Yes, way out there.
Way out in God's country.
Yes.
In Cortland. He's a Warren guy, though.
Right.
Barry's
just like me and you, buddy.
Yep. Barry's an East Sider. Grew up on the East Side. We didn't know each other growing up. I grew up on Kenilworth Northeast, and Barry grew up on Atlantic Northeast.
Across from the Gillens.
Yeah, across from the Gillens, the infamous Gillens.
Yes.
Yep.
So about how many blocks away?
Well, if you count between let's say probably
how much of a walk?
Yeah, no more than a quarter mile. But we didn't know each other growing up.
No.
I didn't meet Barry until we got into high school.
Okay.
And
that's kind of a similar situation with me and my wife. We grew up 3-4 blocks away, and it's just silly. I mean, you could be so close, but when you come from a big city, like there's just once you get a click, like there's like 30 people in it.
Well, he went to like St. James, and me and my buddies all went to St. Cyril's. So everyone was in their own little sections. Yeah. So when we went to St. Mary's, we knew each other. But like the classes were mostly separated.
Mm-hmm.
Barry had a reputation after he got in a fist fight at the Greek Fest,
which I never started.
Which he didn't start, but he finished it, bro.
Just protecting myself
and smashed this dude. And then
story number 1.
Yeah, and he had a little bit of a reputation after that as a kid not to want to mess with this dude because he'll throw down. He was a skinny guy. I mean, he's big now. He's so this is an all-state football track athlete. This
is a COVID body right now.
Oh, yeah.
You look good, though. I was going to say, you look pretty good. It's kind of interesting because the episode 30 with my uncle, the jazz man, very similar. Outstanding athlete. Barry was an outstanding athlete. Artist. My uncle was a musician. Barry's a painter. Just different setup. And different times, obviously.
But he's what we always talk about in the podcast too. Is he's the artist that most people think of artist.
Right. He's a painter. He's a visual artist. Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Barry, to catch you on that is, people think there's all kinds of art out there.
Oh, without doubt.
But your art is actually right in front of us.
Yeah.
Should we mention that? Should we mention
all the
brothers out there?
Yeah, you definitely need
the Wu-Tang background.
Worn Wu-Tang.
We got the guy today that painted it.
That's right.
One of my favorite pieces. I love it.
Well, explain the story about you're kind of touching on it, but explain the piece from start to finish on that.
Well, Hanna-Barbera. One of my favorite, all those cartoons were some of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Wu-Tang. And the person that introduced me to Wu-Tang was one of our good buddies, Alma Grosso. Alma had
another artist.
He had the big system in his car back in the day where the windows were shaking and your heart was out of your chest. And he was actually one that introduced me to Wu-Tang and fell in love with that and just combined them both in a pop piece. And that's kind of all my pop pieces. I kind of combine a couple things into them of what I like. I mean, if you see, like, I have a Batman piece where I have Coca-Cola, which I try to quit drinking, sugar, and Batman.
Alcohol instead.
Yes. Right. So it's kind of, most of my pieces now, I kind of reference a couple things I like into one piece.
What were you doing when you, did you have any bubbly that night, or?
Sure. Out in the studio, of course. You have to come out and see the studio.
I do,
nice full fridge and everything you need's out there.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
And so when the wife and kids go to bed, I stroll out there, and some nights my wife has to come and grab me and bring me back in the house.
What'd you do, like a garage? Is that like a...
Yeah, the house we bought had like an RV garage separated. So it's about 1,000 square feet, and I made that my whole studio.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it's nice.
And then you got the pool outside?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's one of those guys like me. Got
rich
a nice
guy. He's got a rich guy. He's got an in-the-ground pool, bro. It's like other level. Yeah. So you got that other level shit.
Movie theater at times.
Yes,
too.
Yes. That's
he's the dude that got the projector set up.
It's dope.
Jim will be like, he doesn't like to share a lot of things, but your buddies come over and enjoy your stuff and just brag for you. So Jim will just be like, I'll see a picture of him with like Modern Methods. We're going to use Modern Methods. It's our sponsor, and like a movie theater in the background, and like a slide, and like I don't know. I'm like, Jim,
when Jim comes over,
you're having a beautiful time right now, dude.
When Jim comes over, we have a really good time.
It sounds like when anybody comes over.
We have a water slide.
Right.
And, you're supposed to slide down it. And so one day we're just jumping off the top of the water slide.
Into the pool.
Yeah. Thrill seekers, man. Thrill seekers.
While our kids watch us break these rules. Like,
don't do this, boys.
Right.
Watch us do it.
Yeah.
So. It's going to be a fun episode.
Well, it's funny.
Right now.
It's funny. Yeah, it already is.
It is.
It already is. It's funny because I bought a projector for a project. I needed a projector for a commercial project because we were doing like rear projection, kind of like old school rear projection like they used to do back in the heyday of Hollywood. And then Barry was like, "Man, what you got? You got like a projector, huh? I wonder how far can that go, dude? It's a two ticks bought the projector. Jim Fogarty, we're one and the same, but the business bought it, right? I always try to explain that to my wife. You're gonna have that conversation.
Oh yeah.
And next thing I know, Barry's like, I want to get a projector. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. So I'm sending him, like, different things or whatever. He's like, yeah, what about that one you got? I'm like, dude, it's pretty high end. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, well, all right, what are you going to do with that? You could just borrow mine. He's like, nah, I want to project a movie onto the side of my RV barn, which is a huge, I don't know how big is
1,000 square feet.
1,000 square feet.
But, I mean, how big is the wall? It's like probably.
Oh, it's big.
It's probably 15 by.
Yeah, because the screen I got's 100 inches by. Wait, I forget what it is. It's huge.
But he made this huge frame and then puts this screen up there, dude. It's dope. So it's like a great experience. Thanks for having me over to watch those movies.
We'll come over all summer. We'll social distance.
We have to social distance, unfortunately, in the time of COVID. What have you been doing during COVID? Tell the prodders, for all the other artists that are listening. Are you catching up on work?
Yeah. What's nice is I've been able to finally go in the studio and experiment a little bit more with some of my art. Trying different techniques, using plaster and liquid nails and stuff I just wanted to experiment with. I think that's one great part of being an artist, is being able to explore a little more. And with the time I have a ton of time on my hands. So it's been enjoyable. And then catching up with the kids, we've been playing a lot of baseball and running around and bicycle rides and good times.
Good times to be had at the Berkey compound, as we call it.
Yes.
Barry's one of those guys. He was like one of the first guys that I knew just recently. He's always been an artist. He was painting, and he moved back from Kent. You went to Kent State and studied art, and you moved back to Warren in 1999? 2000?
2000.
In 2000.
Yep.
And we were making films at the time. Barry plays Randy.
Randy.
Did you know Barry plays Randy in Wax and Gibbous?
gangster.
I did not know that. That was a long time ago, though, Jim. So I've probably met a lot of these people, but
20 years.
Time does a.
Well, that's when we started kicking it. Like we started kicking it back then, and that's when he was like, he moved into his family owned a bunch of cleaners, like dry cleaners, and Barry moved home from Kent, started working at these cleaners, and we started palling around together because we're both kind of kindred spirits. And Barry's one of those guys that like. You have a crazy idea, and he's one of those guys that, and I think this is why we're like, some people have, I don't have any like blood relatives. I'm an only child. I have stepbrothers and stepsisters, but I don't have any blood relatives, like brothers wise. This is like, he's my kindred spirit brother from this is my brother.
Right.
Yeah. And not because like of whatever, but because he's one of those guys, you'd have like a crazy idea and you'd be like, hey man, let's go. I'm thinking about doing XYZ. And he'd be like, awesome, let's do it, and I'll help you. And I don't mean like one of those friends. Sometimes you have friends where people are like, hey man, I got this crazy idea. And they're like, yeah, do it, man, do it. Because they want to see you like fuck yourself up somehow.
They want to do it, but they want you to try it first.
Yeah, or they want to fight you. And Barry's one of those guys that's like level-headed, but would be like, it'd be crazy, like, but let's fucking do it. Let's try it. Let's try it and see what happens. And kind of the reverse to that, he's one of the first guys above Brandon are 3 smaller paintings, and they're resin pieces. So is that acrylic or oil on wood panel with resin over top of it?
Well, most of them are all acrylic, and then some of them are all spray paint.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you ever visit, if anybody ever sees the pictures, it's from the ProdCast page or from 2 Ticks page, we've got Berkey artwork. I think I am I think I have the largest
Burkey
art collection
without a doubt.
No personally, question. The largest collection.
How many pieces at home?
At home? At least 10. Yeah. At least 10.
Yeah.
The one that's next to your TV, is that Burkey?
The Marilyn Monroe and stuff? No. Those Renee bought those at like fucking Pier 1 or some shit.
Modern.
Ooh, nice. I like how you did that.
Modern.
That was slick. Yeah, but Barry's like one of those artists that would like experiment with stuff. Like, I'm going to try this out. And so he started doing the resin pieces, and now he's got it down to like a science where they're super, super, super cool.
I think these ones are super cool too. I mean, you could just, because sometimes that's what's cool about in the art field. And this is sometimes, I don't want to go back to talking about the wives or whatever, but when you're in a field of any type of art field, whether it's video or commercial or marketing or an actual artist, like, it's not a 40-hour job. Like, it's not, this is what I'm told to do for 40 hours, or this is what I need to do for 40 hours, and you're good. You don't know what that next piece is sometimes until you have confidence. So there's things that I do for free, and Jim, I'm sure you do for free, that like you need
the ProdCast.
We love you guys out there, but there's things out there like you
send us your money.
Send us your money. We'll put a donate now for COVID. No, I'm only kidding. I don't know where I'm going, but long story short, I've had a couple brews, but you have to like as artists. Sometimes you just have to like experiment, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But when I look at these back pictures, going back to the pictures, it looks like you hit a home run, and that's an awesome feeling. And I think most artists out there will realize, like, if they're trying something new, and it actually works really good. But man, how many times do you not get that home run type deal?
A lot.
Oh,
a lot.
And then that's the thing that's crazy though.
But that's still the enjoyment of it.
Oh, it's still the enjoyment,
because
then it's not on your mind anymore. Because I think that's 50% of artists' problems is if you don't let me put this out there, or if I can't put this out there, if I don't do this, then it's just always going to be on my mind.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll tell people, like, give me the honest truth. I love hearing, oh, you did a great job, but I'd rather hear, I don't think this is worth your time.
That's why Brandon calls me.
Yeah,
what do you think about this? Sucks.
Yeah, dude, because he's already done it.
Shit.
He's already done it for 10 years.
I'm just kidding. I never say shit sucks.
I mean, he gives
like,
me the honest truth.
Like Jim, Dom, a few other people give me honest opinions. I mean, they won't insult me. I mean, I'm not looking at you to tell me it's horrible, but be honest.
Oh, he doesn't insult you? So maybe that's just the thing.
No, I mean, he'll be honest, and he knows.
Renee might listen to this and be like, "See, I told you you're mean to Brandon. Why are you so mean to him?" I'm beating him down to make him stronger.
That's really good. That's really good.
Where I've come as an artist has been because of the people I trust to give me their honest opinions. Because I'm not, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and I have people that comment on my art all the time. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it, which I appreciate that.
Right.
But I also want the people to say, hey, no, that's not working well, and do that. And I think because of that is why my art continues to improve. Because I look at stuff I did 10 years ago to now. I mean, it's night and day. And
I think at times, like, when you do artist work and stuff like that, I think at times, like, people out there might just want to just give you the slap on the back. But I think most artists will say, just give us the truth.
Yes.
Like, we're looking for the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
I would rather have, out of 10 people, I'd rather have 3 people say, great job, and 7 people better my business, better my artistic skills, better, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You want them to be honest with you.
And I tell people all the time, give me your honest opinion. If you go up to an artist and say, I don't really like this piece, they'll probably give you a minute. They'll probably tell you, like, well, I'll actually want to know why they don't. Because then I can get into their mind, not be offended and just be like, well, then go to somewhere else.
If you're giving me the critique and you're just like, I just don't like it.
Well, I don't like that either.
Then get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I don't have time for you. If you say, like, you know what, it's not, I don't really like it because XYZ, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And listen, art's subjective, right? I mean, someone may see something and go, wow, that's beautiful. And someone else may see something and go, my second grade kid could do that. I mean, or whatever. Okay, cool.
Well, just give you an example. I did a Pink Floyd piece, which Anthony Esposito owns now.
Love it. Yeah.
And I finished it, and I just wasn't crazy about it. There was something missing. So I sent it to Dom. And I go, Dom, what do you think about this? He's like, man, listen, if you put some kind of like highlight behind all those guys, I think that piece would just pop.
Yeah.
So I did like this orange, yellow pop behind it. And dude, it turned out fantastic. And that's kind of what I'm saying. You reach out to the people and they'll give you their honest opinion. And that piece, you put up sometime. I mean, it changed the whole thing of it. So
Barry's done a bunch of like rock super groups, for lack of better terms, like classic rock groups, except Led Zeppelin. And I got dibs on that. So I'm
still trying to work on a Led Zeppelin one, man.
They're the greatest rock and roll band of all time, so there's probably a lot of pressure.
There is a little pressure on that one. I'll be honest with you.
Barry will be out in the studio, and like he is probably the person that I talk to besides my parents and my wife and son, who I live with.
You live with your son? That's cool.
He's the person I talk to probably the most, and so he's also that guy. He's one of those people that, if I need praise, if I need a lift up with something I'm doing, I'll go to my mom. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Everything I do, my mom thinks it's the greatest. Mom, I love you. Thanks. If I want the truth and a real,
don't give up a truth.
Like from an artistic standpoint, I'll go to Barry, or he mentioned Dom Nicastro, or I'll go to like there's certain people, or if I want beat up, I'll go to my wife and show her. She'll be like, that sucks, piece of shit. Why would you do that?
Hey, but sometimes with our wives, and shout out to them. Am I still on?
Yeah, what happened?
Am I still on? Can you hear me?
No, you got cut out.
Am I still there?
There you go. There you go.
Sometimes shout out to our wives though.
Shout out to our wives too much. We're always shouting them out.
Here's the thing: if they like it, then I know the general will like it
for sure.
And if I'm going for the general, I show them that, and this is entertaining. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. This is not entertaining. Well, then it's not going to work.
That's totally true. Because you married a woman similar to me,
right?
That she's not impressed with me at all. She'd rather smash me instead of like placate me and be like, "Oh, you're brilliant. Your shit's so great." She's like, "That sucks."
My girl doesn't do that.
Daniel just shakes.
But I don't think anybody wants to marry. I don't know out there. I mean, maybe put in the comments of this thing. But I don't think people out there want to marry somebody that.
Some guys
gloats.
do. Yeah,
really?
some guys and women do. They want. Yeah, I mean, listen. People want to surround themselves with sycophants, man. I mean, our politicians do that nowadays.
Because on a
yes men.
Oh, but same token, my wife saved me a lot of time, though, too. Because if I had somebody that just kept saying, everything's great, this is awesome. I love Greek women. I mean, she puts me on track on certain things.
Greeks, you like the Greeks?
The Greeks.
Excuse me.
I got a good Italian wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Barry does have a good Italian wife.
Did you guys graduate same
No,
year?
We're a year apart.
Just for the Prouders out there.
Yeah, so, in fact, this is how I actually, because I knew Barry, and I knew of him after this whipping he gave this dude at a festival one time.
And let's bring it back. What year is this? What grade is this?
I don't know. He's probably like 13 or 14 at the time. So I knew him, and we were friendly. We were on the same. Barry was a standout runner. He ran sprints. He was 100-meter and 200. Did you run 200 too?
Yeah, in the 4x4.
In the 4x4. I was a long distance, middle distance. I was not very good. I was decent when I was a freshman. I got injured anyways, whatever. We were in the same kind of social athletic circle, if you will, and kindred spirits, but we didn't like kick it, right? And then my senior year, there was a girl that had a party, and Barry had dated this girl who my friend was then dating. They had broken up, and I wasn't there for the fight at the
melee.
No, I was there for that fight, but I wasn't there for the fight at the Greek Fest. Speaking about Greeks. But I had heard about it, and that was like the reputation, oh man, don't mess with this cat because he's, he'll throw down. He's not afraid to throw down. So my buddy at the time was dating Barry's recently ex-girlfriend. And I don't know if they were still maybe messing around. He could maybe talk about it. I don't know. Or maybe not. But this girl had this party. Now I'm a senior. He's a junior. And I go to this party with this dude who's dating his ex-chick and who is talking mad shit kind of about Barry. And Barry's like, dude, stop talking smack about me or we're going to have a problem. And I was like, okay. Because people talk.
Right.
So we're at this party, bro, okay? My dude's, my friend at the time, I'm not friends with him anymore. Which is kind of...
You're welcome.
Yeah. True that.
Inside joke.
Yeah. Well, because he's kind of, whatever. So he's in the bathroom, okay? And Barry comes busting in the bathroom and beats this dude.
Where were you?
I pulled him off of my friend.
Oh.
You and Zeke.
Me and Zeke.
Yep.
Yeah. Me and Zeke. He smashes this dude.
So
okay?
you said, I'm giving up on this friend.
Well, no. No, I was still a friend. Yeah. Only the strong survive.
You came here with me, but I'm leaving with Barry.
But no. Hey. I got mad respect for him. So then fast forward, probably we graduated, and then like fast forward, I moved home from Bowling Green, and then Barry the same summer moved home, or shortly thereafter moved home from Kent State, and then I don't know, I was in the process of we were all hanging out at the Horseshoe. Steve Lardis, shout out, Horseshoe Bar, Market and Pine and Warren.
What a great time that was.
Oh, that was like a 10-year run. When Brandon was a part of that, man. You would see a lot of that stuff.
I know I'm 10 years younger than you, but I think there was like a 5-year mix that we were all there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we just started kicking it, man. Like he had a red Jeep.
Yep.
And I had moved home, and I was living at my folks' house at the time. And I still remember this. My mom would be like, where are you guys going tonight? And be like, oh, we're going to go to the Shoe, or we're going to go to ITAM 30. Our buddy owns a bar. Right. We're going to go wherever. There was a ton of bars. There was live music all the time. We were talking about my Uncle Frank earlier. Like, you could go out Thursday through Saturday, Thursday through Sunday. We didn't really go out on Sundays, but... Oh, actually, we did go out on Sundays because we'd go to Avalon Gardens sometimes.
Yeah.
You could go out Thursday through Sunday and see live music.
I think Monday was the only night we took off.
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. Tuesday, Saturday.
Monday was always the butt day because I always enjoyed Sunday. Sorry to pause the story, but I always enjoyed my Sunday time at the bar because I already just did Thursday, Friday, Saturday at whatever bar it was at, or even at same bar. But like on a different level, like trying to party, But Sunday was like
Saturday was too much, and then Sunday was just
I was usually licking my wounds.
Saturday was like 75-cent draft. You're just sitting up there. You might catch a NASCAR race you don't care about, and you're just sitting there and like you don't want to meet anybody that day. Sunday was always a good day, but then Monday, come on, we got to get ready for work. And then Tuesday comes your buddy calls.
Yeah, I didn't do Sunday daytime. I'd usually go Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night,
to jazz
absolutely.
And get a little goofy. But I can remember Barry picking me up in his Jeep, and my mom would be like, "Who you going out with tonight?" And I'd be like, "Oh, Barry's coming to pick me up." And she'd be like, "Okay, you guys be careful," because him and I could get together and get totally. Actually, him and I and all of our crew, so to speak,
the Eagles.
Yeah, we could get a little wild. And I would like to think I was kind of like the level-headed one most of the time of the group. And we could turn it up. And my mom would always be like, "Be careful." And then she'd be like, You're driving that Jeep. It's top heavy. Does he got the doors on the Jeep?
Hey, that's
careful.
the truth, though.
Rolling one up in the driveway. We wouldn't even be out the driveway, off the blacktop. We would have everyone rolled up. Yeah. And then have after hours.
Oh.
And Barry'd have after hours. He lived across from the Howland Police Station. The building's no longer there.
Which they never...
Dude, there was so much
Barry, what was
shit.
What was the after hours like?
Insane. I mean, there'd be 20, 30 people in that place.
Riding bicycles and shit inside.
I mean, right across the fire station, there was a dry cleaners and Chico Subs place. And my parents owned the building, and behind there was where I lived. And be 20, 30 people, I mean, partying. And I'm like, I guess this is the key. You live close enough to the police, they'll never bother you because they don't think you're stupid enough to throw all these parties. And be insane. Yeah. Everybody came over there.
We were just talking about this.
I had buddies come in and actually break into Chico's place and make their own subs at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Making salami.
They'd call my parents next day. Hey, your son, they broke into our place and was eating subs and making subs.
He'd be pissed. Barry had paintings.
I won't mention who that is.
Barry had paintings all over. I talked to him today, by the way. Barry had paintings all over his place. So he'd bring chicks back. We'd bring chicks back. There's just, not we'd bring.
Well, this is a Barry story, buddy, not a your story.
Well, no, I'm just, yeah. Well, that's true too.
Barry would bring the chicks back.
There would be a bunch of people there.
Group effort,
and the girls would be like, "Oh, he's an artist," because he had this reputation for being like a tough guy, and he'd be like, "Oh, he's an artist." And he'd have like all the I still remember that Bob Marley painting and like all these sweet paintings, and then. Dudes would be riding. He had a bicycle. People would be like riding the bicycle. It was like a warehouse, almost like the back of a warehouse.
Yeah.
And dudes would be riding the bicycle around the thing, like banging on drums. I think we had bongos one day, dude. It was just, it was crazy.
So it was a chill place. Did this ever happen to you? Me and my buddies were just talking about this the other day. But did you ever come to your own place and there was already a party happening that you didn't realize? Give you an example.
No, not really. It was usually always after. I was like, hey, where can we go? And we'd end up at my place. So we'd drive. We'd leave the Horseshoe and drive through Howland.
Yeah.
Well, see, what would happen? What would happen with us? Like, I was back in, when I was like 21, 22, we had a band house. And, like, we would be out at the bars. Yeah. And, like, my buddy would call and be like, what are you doing? We're like, we're coming home. We're going to have a party. The key's underneath the mat. Next thing you know, I forget to come back, like whatever, we're doing our thing. And there's like 7 friends just chilling, having their own party at our place.
Okay.
And then, you come back to an after party that you thought, it sounds like you had a similar place. It was just a chill ass place.
It was a wild time. I mean, my place was a great time. And then over on Central Parkway at Jim's place, modern, was another great chill place. I mean, we had a blast over there, the Lost Weekend.
Yeah, we made some movies over there.
Which should never be seen by anyone. But
no, they're under lock and key, man. That's like that shit's under biometric codes.
Lock it up.
And what's funny is when Barry moved, and I moved out of my parents' house after I lived with my parents for about a year after college, and then I moved out on the other side of town to Central Parkway. And Barry moved over on these Southview apartments. So we were neighbors. Like, we lived, and then another one of our buddies lived at the end of our street. And there was a whole bunch of us, really, that kind of lived in the same neighborhood, like
right.
half mile, quarter mile apart. And so people would come and congregate at Central Parkway. And him and I worked on a lot of projects and a lot of ideas, sitting on the front porch, man, just like...
Car watching.
Yeah.
Car watching.
Yeah.
There was an old dude that lived across the street from him.
Oh, I love this, yeah.
He brought down the trash one day, and we're listening. I think it was you too. I forget who it was.
No, we were listening to either Sly and the Family Stone or who did the soundtrack for Superfly?
Oh.
Superfly!
I can't remember. But this dude had a walker, and he was walking to the beat of the music the whole way down.
Well, we were... partaking maybe in some extracurricular things.
A lot of tea back
we were drinking a lot of tea, a lot of herbal tea, and his name was Mike. I won't say his last name. He was bringing the trash down, and we were listening to I want to say Miles Davis. It's not Miles Davis. Who did the soundtrack for Superfly? Help me out. You're a fact checker, man.
Oh man.
Anyways, he was. I should know this. This is terrible. He was bringing the trash down, and every step he took was like to
by Future Superfly original motion picture.
No, not Future. No, this is the original Superfly in the 70s. anyways, this guy was bringing the trash down, and every step he took was to the beat of the song. And we were like, we both stopped and looked at each other and we're like, dude, and he's like, yes, he's walking to the music. But he really wasn't. It just was coincidental.
It lined up.
Maybe it was the tea. Yeah, definitely synced up.
Yeah. There's one thing I don't know about you guys, but now, well, actually, you moved out of Warren. Now you're officially out of Warren, Jim. With me and my wife, how Warren is set up completely different than how like Cortland and Howland and these other townships are. Is Warren, like every road is a shortcut. Where like in Cortland and Howland, you got main roads, and if you're in a neighborhood, you're only back there because you're trying to go back there. There's not shortcuts.
Yeah.
But one of the things that me and my wife missed the most, we lived on Willard over in Warren. Kind of a busier street type deal, but not really. It was just, it's a side street that's way busier than a normal side street should ever be. But we had a front porch, and we just car watched all the time. I miss car watching. I call it car watching, or some people call it the curb watching or whatever. Yeah. But I miss having that, like, your neighbors and stuff can be entertaining, like what you guys just said, for no reason.
For sure.
Or you can have front porch parties, like, that can grow. Like, you know what I mean? You're not wild out there with discos and shit, but, like...
Or you are.
Or you are,
yeah.
Right. And, you know, people just come over and stuff like that.
I mean, listen, like, Warren... I mean, I talk to my buddy Gillen all the time about, like... It was one of the greatest place to grow up in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the friends, neighborhood. I mean, we used to go to the Woodland Market and all those cool little areas. And we used to play football all the time up at the water tower. I mean, Warren was great. I mean, unfortunately, it is changed. I mean, it's no lie to anyone what's gone on here. It's not the same. But Warren was great growing up.
The downtown has gone through a tremendous renaissance, though. So I'm happy about that.
Yes.
You know, we get to see that. Speaking about renaissance and transform, Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield is who we were listening to. Yeah, we listened to that soundtrack that whole summer. Speaking about transformation and things of that nature, like, let's talk about some of the art, though. Like, let's talk about how you got into art and how you started some movements that have created or I don't want to say created, but certainly were catalytic events to create artistic movements within the community. Yeah.
I mean, when I start art, or
yeah,
well, beginning, or
just walk us through the whole thing. Like, when did you know that? When and why did you know you wanted to get into art?
Like, I was in kindergarten. Remember, she went to school with us at McMahon.
Heather?
No, her mom was a kindergarten teacher, Mrs. McMahon, over at McKinley.
Okay,
that was another one. I mean, well, she told my mom, she goes, your son, he's got some artistic ability. She's like, why don't you sign him up for these classes at the TAG? They're drawing classes.
TAG is a Trumbull Art Gallery.
Yes, and this was over back when it was on Mahoney. So my mom signed me up, and I remember in kindergarten, I was 7 years old, went over to Trumbull Art Gallery, started doing drawing classes with teenagers and adults, and that was my first experience, like, being in an art gallery. And dude, I was sold after that. And then it just from that point on, I've always drawn and always have painted and always enjoyed it.
Who's your most influential art instructor or teacher?
Mr. Fusco.
Boom.
Without a doubt.
Henry Fusco.
I mean, he was
St. Mary's Middle School.
He was that teacher. Like, that was my favorite class.
Me too.
Because he never critiqued you in that way. It was always, well, how about this? Mm-hmm. Or how about that? And just encourage you. And one of my favorite teachers of all time.
Me too.
And that's when I really felt I blossomed as an artist, because he's like, you should do commercial art. You should do this. And that's when I kind of started the pop stuff and like that. And it went from there. But he was definitely one of my biggest influences.
He was an awesome dude.
Oh, the best.
That is we mentioned Dom Nicastro a couple times. But that was I don't think we ever shared the same space. I don't know. We may have, because it would have been 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah.
I would have been 7th. Dom would have been 8th. You'd have been 6th. But that's a through line in our artistic endeavors, for lack of better terms. And then you go off to Kent State and you decide to study art.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that experience? What was that like?
It was good times. I mean, fun times. A little bit too much partying there in Kent State.
Around what time was this?
At the Kent. 95 to 99.
Can I ask this because it even happens nowadays, but I think it's becoming a little bit more open to the idea of what other people are doing. But I just remember, like, I've had buddies that their sisters and brothers graduated, like, let's say 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And like one wanted to go for like dance and one wanted to go, and it was still kind of like, you're going to spend money to go study dance type deal. How was it like in 95 when you said, like, to who you said to, like, I'm going to go to college for art? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that's no disrespect, but this is like 1995. This
like,
is still
like who?
Like just in general, like
your parents.
How did your parents?
Well, I put myself in college, so it was really, hey, that's what you want to do. That's what you're going to do. So
right. How was the general like idea of that, though? I guess, was it a good question, Jim, or do you want to take the question?
I mean, I never really.
You don't care.
Right. I mean, I just, this is what I enjoy. This is what I want to study. This is what I want to do. And it was great. But, at the same time, through that experience, I realized, I mean, I kind of want to just do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when I'll figure it out on my own. I'll, like, from these resin pieces and stuff that I've done, I've never been afraid of the failure part. And I've actually enjoyed the failures because that's how
that's it.
I keep getting better and better, whatever I'm trying to do. So I just kind of, after that, went and just keep experimenting from this point on.
Right.
Well, when Barry moved back, this is in 99, 2000. Yeah. And like I said, there's a bit of a music scene, and you've got a bunch of people kind of kindred spirits congregating, musicians, artists, writers, filmmakers, whatever it was. And he mentioned the tag. And at that particular time, the tag was... and this is no disrespect to them. We're going to call it like it is. We're going to say the truth. Because we all had the same experience. Myself, Barry, James Shudick, Dom Nicastro. These are all guys that ended up being original members of the IAA, the Independent Artists Association. And everybody went there, myself included, Barry included, and said, hey, I'm doing this art thing and blah, blah, blah. And can you, how can you help us? How can you, and they were like, and listen, maybe at that time, our stuff wasn't good enough or whatever the thing is, because not every artist is ready to have a gallery show or have a communal show at a particular time. But they were very kind of like, turn their nose up a little bit. Like, it was very standoffish.
Yeah, I mean, completely. There was no help. And I remember you and I would talk about it. Like, as young artists, I don't know what to charge for art. I don't know where to show my art. I don't know anything. So you go to the Trump Art Gallery, the county which you live in, and think they would give you some direction.
They're supposed to be the authority.
And there was none. I mean, it was pretty much, stick your nose up at you, and that's how it was. And, I mean, they'll deny that to this day, but... I mean, we've both been on the board. We know how that goes.
Right.
But it was a joke. And so it was really me and Jim sitting on the front porch and saying, I don't know what to do. And Jim's like, I want to buy this painting off you. And I'm like, I don't even know how much to charge you. And so I'll pay you $150. Now, at the time, $150 is like $1,000 right now to us. I mean, we had nothing. I mean, it was that was the launch of it. Yeah, man. And, he still has that painting this day, and it's still one of my favorite paintings all time. And we figured it out. I mean, we struggled, and our buddy Matty Smith now lives in New York City. He lived right down here in Town Warren, and we had our first show together.
Yeah.
And I tell him all the time, like, if that wasn't a successful show, I have no clue where I'd be artistic-wise. I mean, it was a blowout. I mean, we did unbelievable. I mean, we had his mom make homemade pizzas. Jim Waters' mom made...
they made... it was like a big communal effort.
Great Waters was there.
Yeah.
Oh, James Waters was...
I love hearing about
Waters. Waters, yeah.
We made grape leaves.
He had to bet on the show.
She made grape leaves. We made invites, sent out invites, posters, and
on
it was
grape leaves?
No.
And then we got wine from Nana Cole and Sabatini.
Yep.
Right.
And we hooked up lighting system all the way through, and Matt put up a music thing.
It was a 2-floor show. It was on 2 floors.
Yeah.
And an industrial old downtown building.
This is where Ron Book used to live. Yeah. Ron Book moved out.
It's like 2002.
Oh, but it was very industrial still down there. It's not upkey,
right above
granite countertops.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And this was the idea that,
like your painting probably covered a hole on this building type deal.
Right, right. And this was the thing where it was like everybody went to the tag, and the tag for the younger people, the non-established people, the non-established people were like, oh man, we don't know what to do. And so, and actually I'll backtrack a little bit too. Eric Murphy, he used to have the Murph Fest, filmmaker, we had him on. He had Murph's Tiny Circus, which was a concert/art exhibit. He had a bunch of bands. It was indoors, and it was in the wintertime. Obviously, that's why it was indoors. And he had artists, and people brought their stuff, and it was almost like an artist flea market, for lack of better terms.
Okay.
And then, Barry was like, man, dude, I want to be able to do something with my art, but I can't get it shown. And we both were like, you know what, dude, you got to do it. Let's just do it ourselves.
Right.
And so Matt Smith, my creative partner in Two Ticks, who lives in Brooklyn, Barry mentioned, he had a space. He lived downtown. He's a phenomenal artist too. And they're like, hey, man, let's do this group show. Let's just do it ourselves. We made our own invites and like I said, Waters' parents, mom, and people made food, and we brought booze and bought wine and blah, blah. And dude, it was a smash. There were probably a couple hundred people there that awesome. Came through. And when Barry gets back from peeing, he'll tell you how many pieces he sold. I don't know how many pieces he sold, but it was a lot, like for a first show kind of thing. And then that blossomed into continual projects and continual shows to the point where he started having solo shows on his own and was renting out buildings. Actually, where the Trumbull Art Gallery is now.
Okay.
He rented that space out. It was a mess. And we painted the floor black and the walls white, and he had his own solo show there, and there was probably a couple hundred people there. Brought bands in, and that eventually led to forming the Independent Artists Association, where we started having these group shows, and that just continued to blossom to the point where now it's kind of commonplace, because like you have Fine Arts Council, you have Tag in the space where Barry first had that show, and you have some solo artists along the square, in the alley.
And that was one reason for the IAA was, every show I had, artists would come up like, man, I wish I could do something like this.
Right.
And the thing about the shows was, I'd buy wine, I'd buy beer, I'd buy food, I'd rent the space or whatever it was.
There was bait to get people in.
Oh, absolutely.
It was putting up money.
But they'd buy art.
With no clue if I was going to make it back. So I was never afraid of that risk.
And bought paint to do the floor.
Yeah. He redid the whole place.
Yeah.
I
had the first Tag show there before Tag was there.
Right.
Right. But I was never worried about that. I'd rather risk it and then see what happens. And so a lot of us, how did I start doing it? And that's when we sat down and started talking about the IAA and bringing that show together and what happened with that show, which was kind of a success, but also like a failure in some sense, because, we never thought it would be as big as that was. It was insane how many people came to that show.
We had over 400 people at that show.
So you guys basically, you wanted to do something. You're getting a...
Well, the problem with doing
you kind of just did it on your own. And
doing a solo show, you got to come up with a lot of pieces.
Right.
So the idea is we did the IA, and we have 5, 6, 7 artists. Then I can worry about 5, 6 pieces, and we could all bring our work together from all medium, from photography, the painting, and even from the music. Because Frank, I've had Frank at every art show I've ever done. I was my guy, man. I love Frank to death, and he was at every show. He was at our first
musically,
yes.
or just
music.
No, he played. Yeah, he played live at every show.
Because artists share other artists. Like you do one-on-one, dude.
Yeah, well, we even got to the point where we started doing shows at the Tag. Yeah, Barry and I eventually were on the board there. That's a whole other story. But Ron Book, who's kind of our resident poet, who was on the Square, he recently moved. But he was like, "Hey, man, it's
that
National
the one I did
Poetry."
live on the website?
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
You were involved in that. That's right. And so Ron started doing poetry readings at these.
Which, to tie up a situation, is that the show that you bought the projector for?
No, actually,
Wasn't there a projector art there though?
Well, I used the projector. I bought the projector, I think, for a commercial. I might use it for that, but we actually used the projector for. We had a show over at this building over here. I can't remember what it was called. It was the
Artisan.
The Artisan Cafe. And we had a Dada show.
Yeah.
And I did an installation piece.
Which was phenomenal.
Thank you. That was
a great piece. You ever see that?
Probably not.
I know.
No.
Dude, it's a great piece.
Yeah, it was kind of riding. What's the rapper? Kanye West. It was like talking shit about. Anyways, that was the first piece.
That was a great piece, man.
That was the first.
I enjoyed it.
The first video, like art video, not a commercial, not a movie, but that was the first piece my wife saw, and she was like, "Oh, that was pretty cool."
Oh, nice.
You're like, yeah, right.
It goes back to the whole thing. If it was
I might
cool
be
to
getting
her,
some tonight.
if it was cool to her.
Let me bring that back. Our wives were together that night, and they came a little tipsy to the show.
Right. Which that might be why she liked it. Which is actually another cool thing, because sometimes you'll get with your buddies and you introduce the significant others and they just don't gel. Like, it's been a super cool experience because Renee and Danielle, Barry's wife, are like really great friends.
Yeah,
they call each other like, let's go walking, and then
that's what's
bring
cool.
in the effect like Shannon, Dom's girlfriend, and
it's
pretty dope.
Throughout time. I mean, I'm about to be 35. There's been, whether it was with my wife or with significant others, and it's like, not saying that I've lost a few friends, but it's like, damn it, it just sucks because like you wanted to be close to this dude, but to be close to this dude as a buddy, you got to get the girls on, and then they didn't click.
Yeah, we've had that.
So it's like, what the shit, dude? So then you end up inadvertently losing this cat until you move on to the next chick, and then you retry again type deal. But it's cool when you can find, I want to give a shout out to like my buddy Mike and Angie. Like, they're just, what you guys are saying, it's a special thing. Like, I mean, it's actually harder than it thinks to have two great friends on both sides of
trust me. I mean, through our years, we've dated chicks that didn't like him or didn't like me.
Fuck you mean you're hanging out with Jim?
It got ugly.
What do you call it? Fogs? What's fogs mean?
It got ugly a few times, man. I'm like,
we've had a few of those.
Fog lights?
We've had a few of those.
Like, you can't be friends with him. Like, well, looks like you gotta go.
Right.
I'll tell you what, though, who he's referencing, one of the chicks he's referencing, when the shit went down, I was the first person she called. Mm-hmm. She was like, because Barry's a wild card.
Wait, she was the first person that you?
No, I was the first person she called.
Oh,
yeah. Barry's a wild card, man. So I don't want to get too like into details or whatever. Like I said, I gave that disclaimer in the beginning, though. So this is maybe a made up story, but he's driving down the road one time. You tell the story better than me. He jumps out of the car.
Let him do it.
Yeah.
Tell him the story.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
Oh yeah, she yelling at me, screaming at me. I just jumped out of the car.
While the car's moving.
Yeah,
while they're moving?
Yeah, man. Car's moving.
I'm done.
Dude jumps out, starts walking.
Yeah.
Okay? So starts walking. And all of a sudden...
what speed is this?
It wasn't really fast. I was still here.
Right.
Yeah. It was Market...
But you couldn't wait to the stop. You were gone.
I had enough.
It was on Market Street, though.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Because I remember her calling and being like, he jumped out in front of the florist.
Yep, Agates, yep.
Yeah. Which is coming to a stop, but it's probably like a rolling stop, probably 20 miles an hour. I mean, whatever it is.
I'll walk it from here. Don't worry.
And I remember her calling me up, and I still remember looking at the thing. I could see her number popped up. Now I was real good friends with her sister because her sister was real cute or whatever, and we were good friends. So I'm looking at the phone, I'm like, man, what's this? I was like, oh, it must be Barry calling. It's not, she wouldn't call me. So I answer the phone. She's crying. Barry jumped out of the car. I said, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know. I was like, oh shit. So I had to go. This is my dude, man. I had to go find this guy.
I knew we went drinking then.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Pick up
I found
I
him.
just want to go home.
Yeah, I found him.
Like,
and
where are we going? So it's like, well, fuck. Wait a minute. I gotta go home, comb my hair real quick. Hold on. We're having a good night.
It was a good time.
Dude, I got to tell this story. I don't even know why I want to tell this story. It's just funny. It's just funny. So Barry's dating this girl. I won't say who it is because whatever. But Barry's dating this girl, and
I want names, Jim.
Well,
no, I'm only kidding. Go ahead. Jim.
Well, after people hear it, they'll understand who it is anyway.
That person's gonna hear it and just be tearing up right now.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. He's dating this girl. Okay, and we've gone through. This is what I'm saying. Like, trials and tribulations. I talk to him more than I talk to probably anybody besides my immediate family. Right.
Every time I phone my wife's like, "You talking to Jim again?" Like,
although I'm gonna disclaimer out there, Barry. COVID. It's me. I'm bored at night, so I call Jim. I got 5 beers in me.
Him and I've been talking a lot.
And I'm like, bro, it's like 1:30, and he's like, well, let me just finish this. And go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm coming in second place, is what I'm just saying.
Sweet.
So dude's like, I get the phone call, And I had moved at the time. I'm not on Genesee, or I'm not on Central Parkway. Like, rowdy times, went through breakups. Like, I've had, my first, like,
Renee's not your first, from my understanding, correct?
Well, I'm saying heartbreak. Right. Renee, I actually fooled her to marry me. I don't know. She's, I tricked her. She's probably still trying to get out of that shit. Okay? Trying to figure out how did this asshole get me? Because I married up. But I'm dating this girl. We've gone through like breakups together, Barry and I, where, you're upset. And when you're an artist, we talk about this sometimes.
Heart on the sleeve.
Yeah, man. Your sensitivity is like, So he starts dating this girl. Okay. Well, once I tell the story, it'll be revealed who it is. But he starts dating this girl, and she was dating this dude. Barry straight up stole this chick from this dude. Okay. They were working together. Okay. Because he was bartending at the time. Yep. They were working together and straight up stole this chick. And this dude was salty. And he thought he was, and he might be, I don't know. Whatever. He thought he was a little rough. Okay. And so we used to party at O'Donnell's on 422 on Youngstown Road. The original O'Donnell's, not the one in Youngstown. Or
right. Am I on? I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I get this phone call at like 1:30 in the morning.
Sounds about right.
And this is after a series of phone calls where Barry's called and he's been in some shit. He's been in some trouble or whatever. And I'm one of those dudes, man, if I am sober, okay, I will drop my you're in trouble, right. I'm there. And maybe sometimes if I wasn't sober at that particular time, I'll jump. Now I've got a son.
Right.
Because I'm going back to this conversation I had with Dre one time. He's like,
nowadays. Now we talk about doctor appointments.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I picked up somebody that was more drunk or was less drunk than I was, but he needed the help. And then nowadays it's different. Though,
yeah,
man.
nowadays
I got
like
kids, I got a mortgage.
Right. That's the conversation I had with Dre one time.
Insurance that I worry about.
He's like, yo, if I was in trouble, would you come get me? And I'm like, I'll come get you if I wasn't drinking, because I'm not going to risk anyways.
Right.
So Barry calls me up and he's like, I came to O'Donnell's. He's drunk. He's like, I came to O'Donnell's. He's like, these dudes, this is the ex-boyfriend that he took his girl from.
Right.
He's like, yo, they're going to jump me, bro. They're going to jump me. And I'm like, oh my God, seriously? I'm like, come on, man. And now I'm getting like, this is after a couple incidents, where it was like, I come get them or whatever. So he's like, dude, it's going down.
Hard times.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man. Now, I'm in bed with my girlfriend at the time who's now my wife. And so he's like, I gotta go. And he hangs up the phone, and he kind of leaves me like, cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, shit, man. Like, right. It's 1:30 in the morning, dude. And I might have had a few. I don't remember.
I think Renee kicked you out of bed.
So she's like, who was that? She's like, was that Barry? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you gonna go? And I'm like, and at this point I was like, man, you know what? No, I'm not gonna go. This dude needs to get his shit together. Okay, I don't know what the fuck he's up to. He needs to get his shit together. I don't care. No, I'm not going. You know what? I'm not going. This is all. I don't like rant for like 2-3 minutes. I'm like, God damn. I'm like wrestling.
5 minutes goes by.
Yeah, probably not.
You've been thinking about.
Like, yeah, probably not even. And I'm like, shit.
I gotta go get this cat.
Yeah, I did. I jump up, I put my pants on. She's like, going to the bar, aren't you? You gonna go get him? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go get him. So I rolled down, and I have a billy club.
The stories I've heard so many unnecessary stories of this cat approach somebody with a butter knife, or I had
a butter knife,
or I had
no butter
this
knife.
billy club, or this cat knife busted out my side.
Well, so dude, because he's telling me on the phone, there's 5 dudes there, okay, and he's by himself. So I'm like,
billy club,
and I'm asking him, the owner was our buddy, a friend of ours, Christian. And I'm like, is Christian there? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, this dude's about to get stomped, man, because I knew this cat was mad that he was messing with the girl. So I rolled down there. So I get this billy club, dude. And I walk in the place, okay?
With the billy club.
Yes, with the billy under like my coat.
Okay. And I'm just sitting at the bar.
And he's sitting at the bar getting just banging shots. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" like as if we didn't have the conversation earlier.
But see, at the time, I thought it was gonna happen. And then nothing. Like, and now that girl's my wife.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Yes. That's the best part of that story.
That is the best part of that story.
Yeah.
So it happened for all the right reasons.
Yes.
You two, you guys are a good time. But anyways, there's some good questions out there that we have. And
real awkward.
But like, talk about like some of your like style and process and economics of art.
Well, I mean, I think my style is pretty much pop anymore. I mean, it never started that way. I mean, I was, your typical landscape, flowers, painting a lot of women.
Yeah.
I used to roll a lot of women on canvas and sell those. And then,
how about that for, just having some fun on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then, like, Andy Warhol has always been one of my favorite, and so I just kind of went down that rabbit hole and been painting pop for, I'd say, at least 6-7 years now. I mean, maybe even longer. I mean, back in my Gen C days, I mean, probably over a decade now.
Now, for prodders out there, though, what is pop art?
Great question. I was thinking the same thing.
Just commercial of anything from Wu-Tang to food, drink.
Something that the general population is going to just understand and say, that's
popular culture.
Yeah, popular culture. And like I said, I've combined those 2 or 3 different things into a painting, and that's kind of what I've done. And then I mix off into the women, and
right.
I'm a little bit everywhere. I mean, there's really no set style, and like I said, I like to experiment on everything and try everything. I mean,
hence the rolling women.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm kind of pissed I never got to be. You never invited me in one of those things. I think you might have invited me one time. And
let me ask Danielle if that's allowed anymore. I mean, she might say no.
Well,
if she is, then you can. We
can just do it here. We bring him in the studio, and
hey, Danielle, is that okay, honey?
It's art, because anything is art.
Absolutely, anything is art.
But nude on park.
I think we go back to the general style of art, and I bet you almost everybody out there knows like an artist friend or somebody that they know of, or they went to a person's house, and maybe I'll just be honest, like a person like me, I got a couple pieces of my house, but they were like really personal or like done for me or whatever. But like how does a person like that's just looking for a good art piece in their house, or they got an idea, but they know a couple of people or like a person that they've seen work from. How does a person like approach an artist with an idea? Obviously, in our field, our line of work, people want to come to us with like, oh, well, if I give you the paintbrush, it'll be a little bit cheaper. But like, how does like, let's say I have an idea. Just answer the question of a person has an idea. They trust your work from whatever source it may be. How do they approach you?
Just like that. Tell me what you want and what you're willing to expend. Not like, I'm going to pay you $50. Because you said, I'm going to get the hell out of here. But like, hey, man, listen, I'm on a budget. I can afford maybe $200 or $300. And they'll work with you. I mean, there's a ton of artists who will do that.
Or they won't.
Or they won't. I mean, they'll tell you.
Be honest.
And if they won't,
should be honest with people.
Does the artist community have like, let's say your artwork is worth $500. You know what I mean?
Here's the problem with the artist community to me. I mean, there's too many artists around here anymore, and that's kind of the reason why we started the IAA was that have no clue what they're doing as far as selling stuff.
Right.
I mean, I've been to the art hops and different shows, and people are selling art for $30. Which is insult to themselves.
Right.
Like, they don't realize that. And I've
an original piece.
Yes.
Right.
And I've told artists, like, dude, what are you doing? And the problem I've come to realize with a lot of these younger artists is they are blinded by the fact they don't ask for any advice from other artists. Like, I will never sell you a piece of art for $30.
Right.
Or $100. And in fact, I don't want everybody to have a Berkey art piece.
Right.
Because this means a lot to me. This is my passion. So
But now. Back then, was it different?
No, because it was never my full-time job. And I understand, like, there's artists that say, hey, I'm going to try to do this for a living.
Right.
And I can understand that you're at an art show and all of a sudden you say, well, I need the $100. So I got to take it to pay my bills. And that's unfortunate. It sucks. But, I mean, I've had lawyers come to me at the show where like, hey man, that piece is $1,000, let me give you $200. well, how about you give me your legal advice for $200?
Right.
And they stop and look at you like,
oh shit!
Yeah.
Wait a second. Well, I'm like, well, it's the same thing, man. Like,
you're gonna devalue me by 80%.
You can't pay for this. Like, you can't do this.
But early in the show, we talked about how like you didn't know what to charge for
I
your
didn't.
price.
No.
Well, as a consumer like me, I don't know.
Oh, that's a great
what
question.
it's worth.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I don't want to.
But I think if you approach artists and say, "Hey, man, I got like $200," that better than saying, "Hey, here's 50. This is what I'm going to pay you."
Right.
Like, I think that will get you a lot further along with a lot of artists.
Right. So it's just a general approach.
Yes. Yes.
And as artists, you guys probably are just like, hey, listen, like just like I have to and Jim has to is like, hey, I've been around for a long time, like $150 on this piece. But now, does the artist community? Do you have other people that you might suggest, or do you try to
like a step down? Like,
yeah, like, you know what I mean. Not like a necessary step down, but like I would consider it almost like a person that's trying to step up. So you're trying to help somebody step up, and
I dig it.
It's like $200.
That's cool.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm around $450.
All art is relevant.
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I think so.
Is it? If a guy takes a Duke on a canvas and puts some and hangs on is that relevant? What does that mean? What is that? What is art?
What is art?
I mean, it's what you see as art. I mean, listen, I judge art differently than anybody. I mean, there's stuff that I go to the Cleveland Art Museum and I think is complete shit hanging on the wall. Right. I mean, it's art. Doesn't mean it's good. And I think that's a problem you and I had with the IA because some of the artists we dealt with was like, art is art. Yeah, dude, which means there can be shitty art.
Yeah,
you need to start accepting the fact that there's shit hanging in museums that's fucking garbage. All right, it's not good, but people get caught.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the honest hour.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's garbage to him, though. That can be something fucking beautiful to somebody else.
Well, and that's the idea that art's subjective, but art is also objective too.
Yes, and I can have that opinion.
I can throw excrement on the wall and frame it, and that's art? No, man, it's shit on the wall.
For the listeners out there, let's not throw shit on the wall. But I see what you're saying. But Barry, I have a quick question. You got a person like me, there's a lot of us out there. Like you talked earlier in this podcast.
Define that. You have a person like you've never owned an original piece of art. Is that the truth?
Correct.
Okay. So you're going to buy your first original piece of art.
I know like 3 or 4 fucking artists out there.
I got you. Yep.
And I go to shows. I don't know what to really look for or whatever.
Art's hanging on the wall. It's like $500. You don't have $500 in your
My opinion to you is this. This is what I would tell you to do.
Okay.
And like, dude, I quit taking commissions years ago because honestly, it's not worth my time. I paint what I enjoy painting, and I feel what I paint, it comes out on the canvas that you could tell that I love when I'm painting.
But you've made some great strides and some dope money on commissions.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
No question. But I've come to the point now where like,
you don't want to be hassled with it. You don't want to be hassled.
But this is what I'm trying to say to you is...
Just for the prodders that may not know what commission paint is, what is that?
Well, someone's like, hey, well, I want you to paint me this. And I'm like, all right,
paint my daughter's picture. Here's the picture. Do this.
Okay. The problem is what you got in your head is never going to be in my head.
Okay.
And I've always had a problem with commissions where, well, how about you do this? And how about you do this? And what happens is in that situation, you're taking away the thing I love most in my life is painting.
Right.
So I basically came to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm done. I don't
Death
care.
by 1,000
Yes. I'm going to paint what I love to paint. And if that painting moves you, you buy it. And I've sold a lot of paintings the last few years just painting what I enjoy painting. But what I'm trying to say is if you want to buy art, keep going to art shows. And when you finally see a piece, like, get over the price of it. If it moves you, that should be hanging on your wall. And what you don't realize is you're the only one that has that painting.
Right.
Like, I see people with $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes that got shit from at home and Kohl's hanging on their walls. Like, wow, great, you bought that big house, and now you've got shit on your walls that 10,000 people have across the world. I mean, but you go to like Jim's house, and you go like they have original piece that you're not getting anywhere else.
Right.
And like that's what you should be hanging on your walls.
Right.
And that's my opinion. But you will come to a show, and obviously you haven't yet. You'll come.
I have been to shows.
You've been to shows, but I say, but you haven't come to a show where you're like, holy shit,
he hasn't.
I gotta have that
piece.
piece, and you will have to happen because I've had shows where people come, dude. That's it. Here's Like,
so that kind of answers the question. Yeah. It may take 4 or 5 shows before you find a piece. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's not a slap in the face.
No.
That's okay. See, I've probably been to about 5 or 6 shows.
Yeah.
You know, probably all together, I'm going to be honest. And I haven't found a piece. But that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a slap in the face to anyone else or anything like that.
But you can be supporting in other ways. It doesn't necessarily mean you're buying a piece. It means, especially like with Barry shows, Barry's always put on a party. It's an experience. Right. So we talked a lot about like being on the front porch and doing these other things and like having rock and roll shows and having fun. Like, that's the idea. You go to the show and it's an experience. He's got music there. That guy's not just there, okay? He's got a bar there. You're serving drinks. He's got food. People have made stuff. So you can have an experience and contribute to that without buying a piece by, especially in social media days, sharing it, hyping it, saying it's cool.
Right.
And then buying ancillary stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's always, here's the thing. Barry had a T-shirt shop. They had him and his brother and his dad had BB Printwear for probably, 7 years? Yeah. And they had a print shop and they did T-shirts and stuff like that. And, actually, Tim Drummond, when he's got this Artistics now, they started with Barry, right?
Support Tim.
Yeah.
My man Tim out.
Yeah, so it's that kind of, exactly what he just did, what he just said. It's that kind of stuff. So you don't necessarily have to buy a piece to be integrated in it.
Yeah.
Buy a T-shirt, buy some ancillary stuff that isn't maybe the main piece, and tell your
sharing
buddies
the art to people on social media, and
right?
Getting it out there, but that's the key of it all.
At the end of the day, to anybody that just wants to come to an artist about anything, I would assume that no question to it, no question to an artist is a dumb question. Artists are gonna lead them into the right area, right? So like, I think that's like I hear about this piece or I hear about this guy, and it's like, can I go to him and say, maybe you make these awesome pop culture like paintings that you do, right? But like, what if I wanted you to paint a wall? I might be a little bit nervous to come to you to say, like, I got this wall in my house to paint. Would you do that? Would that be?
Well, I mean,
am I insulting you by doing that?
No, I mean, listen, artists love to paint. I mean, you just have. Here's what's funny. I sold a piece a couple months ago to this girl, and she found out through me from Rapika. She went to Rapika's, doctor's office.
Youthology. Shout out. What's up, Rapika?
What's up, Rapika? So she got a hold of me and she says, listen, man, I love your Star Wars pieces that you did. She's like, I didn't know people did stuff like that around here. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, made art.
Wow.
But listen, to me as an artist, I know 100 artists around here making art.
Right.
But I think sometimes we're in our own bubble, don't realize there's a huge outlet of people around here who don't realize there's original art everywhere.
Right.
And so they go at home, they go to Target, they go to Kohl's and buy all that dog shit that's hanging in their place.
Right.
And instead of searching for artists, so I've tried to say is I'm going to start throwing out ads on Instagram and Facebook and showcasing art and selling more art, which I have done. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, there's a ton of original art. And just to give you an example, my buddy Stephen Quinn, who's on Instagram also, like I just bought a piece off him last week. But I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And it's just, I sometimes I realize I'm on the other end where, dude, I know a ton of artists. I see some great art. Right. Where a lot of people who don't know these people don't know.
Right.
And so I think that's something we as artists have to do a better job. And dude, I'm one of the worst self-promoters because I feel like I don't like talking about myself. Like, hey, let me promote myself. I'm just not that guy. And I think that's a lot of artists are the same way. But there's a ton of art around here.
And I think it goes into every field. And Jim, this is something that, I got to give you a little bit of props on. Like, obviously, Jim, for the prodders out there, we're kind of in the same ballpark, but not. We do some video work, right? He does extensive. I do a little bit on the side. But
you do some dope shit, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But like 6-7 years ago when I was trying to get on my own, like Jim was at a point where he wasn't doing like the $200 project anymore. And Jim, I think you've given me during that year when I was trying to like create this, to put MDI Studios out there, And Jim, I think you've given me like 4 or 5 projects. You know what I mean? And I thought that was awesome that like people could still come to you and you're like, nah. What do you mean $250? Like, get out of here. No, I'm guessing that you had a conversation with them.
Well, it shouldn't die on the vine. You know, right. Because they're going to find somebody.
Has an awesome idea.
Right.
You know somebody that, like, is trying to get up. And, you know, here... Listen, I can't do this for that.
If you didn't do first project the first time there would never been those other ones. So that's the other thing, too, right? Like, you have to hold yourself accountable and hold...
The problem with artists, and this is what we found out with the IAA and why we kind of put the IAA on hiatus, is artists are a pain in the ass to deal with.
They don't
want to hear...
That's me, too.
They don't want to hear the shit that you want to tell them. I mean, like, you know, I've been doing this 20 plus years. I mean, I've learned a lot over it. But, you know, the one thing we try to tell artists, like, you go to some of these shows and you have art that's sloppy. You have art that's not finished. You have art that's not framed right. You have art that has...
You threw excrement on the wall.
Like, you haven't finished a piece.
Right.
But you have galleries around here that will show that shit. And that looks like garbage. So when I'm trying to sell a piece for $1,000, you got horse shit on the wall for $50 because someone decided to pick up some pens from Packetans yesterday. And they want to say it's art. Get the fuck out of here.
And I constantly, for 30,
garbage.
For 33, 34, 35 episodes, I don't know where we're on right now, but I've consistently looked at your piece with this Wu-Tang, and, like, I can't find a piece. What is this, 25? What is this?
That's a 36 by 40.
Yeah,
it's a 3
I
by
can't
4.
find a specific spot on here where it wasn't finished. Like, every part of this painting, and I'm not tooting your horn here, dude. It's just overall looking at it, looks completely finished.
It pops off the page, which is a great pop piece.
Now, here's a question. Do you think there's a difference between somebody that, for the prodders out there, I just learned this on a quick smoke break, is you have a full-time job, you do this as a hobby. Right? You do this as, this is not your income, compared to somebody that relies on this as paying their mortgage, right? So do you think that your pieces are going to come across more 100% complete and 100% every idea that you thought of compared to the other person? And can you hold that against them?
I don't know where someone is artistically in themselves, but I know every piece I make is complete. I mean, I think it from the start to finish. I mean, it's... you know what I'm coming out with, but I think
when you talk about Sally Jesse Raphael
zoom, swimming through the stream, man.
When you're talking about all this art, like, dude, you've been to art shows down here in downtown Warren, and there generally is some shit,
right?
And the problem is, like,
there's a lot of great stuff too.
A lot of great stuff.
Right.
But the thing that we were trying...
Who should be telling these people that it's shit,
us,
though?
But they don't want to hear it from other artists. And that's the problem. And that's what made me frustrated, made Jim...
Like, so you're cool with coming up with somebody and, like, trying... So you want to help the next artist.
I will never walk up to artists and say, hey, this is...
Oh, I'm not you, so fuck off.
Give it up, dude. Give it up.
No, I will never insult someone. But, like, dude, I've looked at art and said, you know what? If they've done this and this and that... And I've offered... sometimes my opinion some of these younger cats, and they're like insulted,
right?
Like mad. I'm like, you know, fuck you.
But you know what?
I'm not gonna help you. But here's my point: like, you and I were on the tag board, and the Trumbo Art Gallery can be another 5 episodes of what we talk about those guys, because that's another clown show.
Love you, Bill.
Yeah, love you, Bill. And I was on the fact board, and I had a gallery in Art on Park, and there's a lot of great art. But listen, I think the biggest problem with most all artists is they don't want to hear anything to help them get better. They think they've already figured it all out. And
maybe that's a generational thing, because I love
it. It might be, but like,
I
also think, like, listen, I can't sell you a steak where you're selling hot dogs.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
So that's one reason I left Art on Park, is because everybody was selling art for $30-$40, and there was some good art at some of those shows for like $20.
Right.
And I just want. But
what are you doing?
Yeah, like, come on, man.
You got more in materials.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. People are like, oh, hey, I'll give you X number, and they think that's a thing. And it would be a thing if they just factored in, because there's cost to art. If they just factored in the time. How long would that take you to do? Oh, I don't know, a couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Oh, I'll give you $100. Okay, cool.
And that's why I left Art on Park, because of the prices. But Shudik does great art.
But the canvas costs money.
Yeah.
The paint costs money. You might have $30, $40, $50 into a piece.
Without a doubt.
And you're giving that person, you thought you were giving them 20, if you factored in an hourly, that they enjoy, mind you.
Yeah.
We're privileged. We're honored to do art. But you enjoy to do it. You might give them 3 hours, $33 an hour, right? You give them $100. I'm just using that as a round number. But now you're giving them half of that because they got $50 in the paint and the canvas. So that's not, and to your point, hot dog versus the steak. However, I gotta say this. I gotta ask this. Had that person came to you or me or you when you were young and said the same thing, what would your reaction been? You would have been like, oh yeah, you're right.
I think so much under.
I know what you're saying.
That dude.
But dude,
I'd have been like, fuck that.
I've always been pretty open.
Yeah, for sure.
With
young, as
if you came at me right. Like, you came at me like your shit sucks.
Like, true.
Yeah, I'd probably fight you. But if you're like, hey, dude, this is my opinion. And I've always
off
been
to the
open.
side, like, hey.
Because, dude, I've like.
Well, you got to get cleared real quick. And I'm going to tell you this real quick. You got to get cleared real quick. Just a couple of people that you need that fucking advice from. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the same time, even to this day, I don't want to hear 17 people tell me my shit needs to be fucking changed, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like,
if you do,
your
shit needs to be changed.
In my shit, I happen to be able to trust about 3 fucking people that I can go to right from the gate. I don't know how that fucking happened. I don't know how that can create it. But if you got more than 3 people or 4 people in your fucking saddle that you're trying to honestly make money or make an adjustment on, like, you're taking too much information in.
It comes down to you, but like, like I've sent pieces to Jim and Dom and my brother and a few people I have honest opinions to, and they're like, man, this really turned out great. And I'm like, they're all stupid. They don't see it's garbage. Like, even when they all say it's great, I'm like, it's garbage. Right. They all say you're all drunk because I don't like it. But I always trust their opinions. But the thing, like, I think we got a little off top of it. The whole IA thing was, I mean, we've talked about for years, like the Seattle music scene, where all of them came together and made that grunge scene. Was like, listen, if we can get all artists together here, and we were on that pace in some sense. But the problem is, people want to feel like they could take credit for it. Let me get my name in the fucking ticket or whatever it was. I'm like, who gives a shit about that?
Hey, that motherfucker's been around.
Yeah,
Still
people
just buy the
He's not knocking the ticket.
No, I'm not knocking it at all.
But I'm uplifting the fucking
No, the ticket's awesome.
Been around.
It's awesome. I'm not knocking it.
But like, to think you're hot shit because you got that.
Like, I'm the director of this, or I've done this.
Right.
Like,
I'm the director.
Yeah, like, listen, man. Like, there's a lot of artists around here, and like, Jim and I were never trying to set out to take credit for anything. We're like, let's all be on the same page, sell our shit at the same kind of prices, and get rid of that cheap shit and make value for what it is to be an artist. Because a lot of people like you who've not bought art don't know if you're insulting somebody. Say, hey, I'll give you $100. And it's for $500 because you have no idea of it.
Right.
And you're not trying to insult
and
anybody. And I've had a lot of people on my shows that have come there. They're like, oh, I apologize. Like, they don't know any different. Right. It's not like they're trying to be a dick.
They don't get taught an acumen to like approach an artist. This which is to your credit of this question.
Yes.
So people can understand. Like, there's no acumen. There's
it's
no.
Just like,
how do you make this approach? Yeah.
It's just that whole different thing is when like we talk about this all the time. Jim is like, I get questions all the time. Hey, could you throw this together for $75 or $100? And I'll be like, no, because they saw a piece that I did. You know, like I'm talking just a highlight video. But, you know, I would like to think that I'm fucking 34 and I've been in this game for a while.
Yeah,
like,
you're doing good work.
My highlight video is going to be a little bit better than somebody that's, 3 years into the game, right? But I have those people in my pocket that if they can't afford my price, I'm going to pass it to their price. But there's something different about, I guess, the whole artist thing of the video artist compared to the actual painting, the person that you can see the thing in front of your face. And it's like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, I would have somebody watches my video, this 2-hour project, they come to me with maybe a negative or a positive. I'm going to be like, well, what part are you talking about? Okay, I did this. But your painting's right in front of your face. Somebody's coming up to you and telling you something negative or positive. It's like, your work is 4 feet from us right now. Yeah, all together.
Well, and to your credit too, because exactly what you're saying is, like, what we do a lot of times is we capture motion,
right?
And then assemble it into something that is and that's a form. That's a form, right? Well, but what he's doing is fine art. You have a brush,
instant gratification.
You have a thing, and you are creating. If you look at those 3 paintings on the wall, by the way, they're assembled in color, order, and in sequence. 2 women in a cityscape, blue, pink and blue, and red. Those are all fine pieces. Barry created those out of his mind. Okay, they didn't exist elsewhere. I take a picture of something, or we assemble video of motion that's happening,
right,
or whatever it is, or we write it and we create it, but
right,
it's not really the same. This is a very
all of our work is not presented. Pow in a second,
right in your shit. Yeah, right.
All of your work you've done is pow right there. That's gonna be a little.
That's a great way to describe it, actually, because I was gonna ask earlier, like, how would you describe Barry's work? And I would say that's the first word, pow.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Color, like frenetic energy. Describe it. What would you say? You're looking at that painting. Well, how would you say it if you didn't say what it is?
I think his pieces, I don't think, are 100% screaming off the top of the, like, shit, you can't go in the room without having, like, in your left eye. But your pieces are not hidden. And I like that. Because I think a lot of pieces are like, I have a gray wall. This would look really good on my gray wall.
Yeah.
I don't, personally, me, I'm going to be honest with you. I got a couple pieces from Kohl's or a Hobby Lobby that are chilling in a fucking bedroom. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But in my office or like this or that, like I don't want my office.
But that's my point. Browns. Like people
I don't
like
want
you
that
should start going to more shows because you're going to start finding pieces.
Right.
Like, dude, I fall in love with 3-4 pieces a week from artists I know. Like, holy shit.
Right.
I got all kinds of original art from different artists in my house. My wife told me to quit buying stuff. I mean, she's like, between your art and all this other art you're buying, like, right. But I get moved by it. I like follow my buddy Stephen Quinn on Instagram. I mean, he makes some great textured art. I mean, it's phenomenal.
But you're also hard on your sleeve too, so you know what I'm saying? Like, you're sensitive to it.
Yes, without doubt.
You're searching for it.
But
your
like
tentacles
also,
are
like,
out there to find
you
it.
buy a piece, like put this piece for instance. If that's in your living room, you're the only motherfucker around that has it.
We're talking about the Wu-Tang War.
Yeah, there's no one else has it but you. And I like that fact that when you walk into people's house and you see original art. And dude, obviously I'm tied to that. So when I go in people's houses, I see original art. And when I go to houses and I see cool shit, I'm like, I question them a little bit. Like, maybe we can't be friends anymore.
If I see all cool shit, I'm like, man,
where the canvas is wobbly.
No,
and
listen, Hobby Lobby's got some fucking dope deals.
That's garbage.
I get it. I'm not. Don't do your fucking whole house in Hobby Lobby.
No,
you got a fucking bathroom.
Do you know how much percent you should do in Hobby Lobby?
$25.
Zero.
I got a question for you though.
Definitely not
before we go.
A fucking sponsorship from them today or anytime
Hobby
soon.
Lobby.
Sorry, Hobby Lobby.
No, because then you can use a 40% discount on it. Let's talk about one of our sponsors, Modern Method. There it is.
Oh, nice.
There it is. You got to talk about what's your role with Modern Method? What have you done, and what's to come?
I've met there every Friday with Dom. It's our normal meeting place, me and my buddy Dom, and I've worked on a Panther Town logo for them.
Barry is one of the drivers of Hobby Lobby.
They're not sponsoring you, bro. We screwed that up.
Fucking hell, I'm gonna cut all this shit off. Barry's is one of the sponsors of Modern Methods. Was I supposed to say that? What am I trying to fucking say?
I have no idea. Wu-Tang forever.
I just asked the question of...
Yeah, I got you. Barry is one of the sponsors of Modern Method in a sense, or supporters. I shouldn't say sponsor, but both, really. Supporter and sponsor of Modern Methods. You had asked about commission pieces.
I asked, what's your role
earlier.
With Modern Methods? What do you do, and what's to come?
He just asked me to make a label for Panther Town and put that together, and it came along nice. I think it's going to be a good beer, and we brought up the old Panther logo.
Brandon had asked about commission pieces earlier, Henry Fusco, commercial pieces, right? And Barry has got to the point now where he's putting labels on beer cans, among other things. the commission piece with the beer can for Panther Town. Modern Methods.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that that's
I don't know. I thought there was a question there, but I just kind of left it hanging for you to knock it out.
Brandon disappeared for a minute.
Oh, well, yeah. I was looking for beer. There's none in this.
He had to pee.
The entire building.
I know. We drank all the beer. All right, so.
We drank all the Modern?
Yeah.
It's gone.
We're drunk.
And the Miller Lights.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Miller.
We're going to cut all this stuff. But let's go back to the commission piece of Panther Town. That was a good segue, though.
Right.
So Panther Town was a piece for a label that Barry came up with for Modern Methods. How'd you get that? I mean, how's that happen?
Well, what was the movie we were talking about? Tom Cruise. Oh, my God.
I was telling that All the Right Moves.
All the Right
All the
Moves.
Right Moves, yeah.
So when Adam brought up...
Brandon, you ever see All the Right Moves?
No.
Nope.
Get out of the room.
All right, wait a second.
Yeah.
But you have to set it up for him so he understands it.
So All the Right Moves
Coffees
is...
for Closers, I've seen.
It's like a high school football
David
field.
Mamet.
With Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And it's like a mill town. They're playing football. And those football scenes in that movie are some of the best.
Rad. He was like a linebacker. He was
Yeah.
smashing dudes.
So when he said, let's bring up Panther Town, I was like, all right, we'll take the old Panther logo and put like a mill behind there with a football helmet and the bandstand. It just felt like All the Right Moves.
Letterman jacket with a hot chick.
No.
Because the thing with All the Right Moves is, let's get to the quick of it.
Yes.
Tom Cruise plays some great football, and he does all that thing.
Yeah.
And I think the guy that was in Action Jackson, the villain,
Yes.
I forget his name, but he's the villain in
Who's
Action
the
Jackson.
chick in that?
Leah Thompson.
Yes.
And so this is to my point, which goes back to kind of Barry's art. Women and the beautification of women. Beautiful women. We love
Gorgeous.
women. Tom Cruise and Leah Thompson, football, Milltown, blue collar, the coach. I forget the guy's name. It's the guy from Action Jackson. This is the theme. This is the motif that is Panther Town.
Yes.
And this is the motif that is Warren, Ohio, and really all across the U.S.
Right.
Because how many people
Blue collar, man.
Blue collar.
Blue collar.
So the label...
I got a white collar out right now, but I just got a blue stripe on it.
But I thought like the Panther Town represented just what this area is, man.
Yeah.
Hardworking, steel mill.
hard nose.
Right.
Yeah.
And tradition.
Yeah.
Tradition and just...
But speaking of women paintings,
and
you know what buys most of my women paintings?
Women.
Women.
Which
Oh,
is
yeah.
crazy.
Well, listen, that beer, Panther Town, one of the best.
I heard it was one of
We
those...
had it the other
you could
day.
have more than
One
couple.
of the absolute...
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Mark my words now. Believe me later. That'll be their number one selling beer of all time.
You
I hope
said
so.
that the other day.
Number
Now
one.
you're saying it
Not-
legit.
Over Darlene?
Here's the reason why.
I think I
You
think
drink
he's-
more than two?
I
I
don't
think
know
he's
if you can
probably
go Darlene and all that kind of stuff. Here's the reason why is you have your people that like breweries and you like brewery beer.
Yeah.
They're coming there, but they might have, my guess would be 2 people or 3 people with them that have never been to a brewery before and just want something that's just really delicious but local. That's what they're going to get out of that. So that one guy's going to go there and get their Darlene and get their whatever. But those other 3 buddies are at least going to say, "Start me off fresh, bro. Okay, have a Panther Town. All right, let me get into the other stuff."
Let me work into the other stuff because you could probably legit. You text me the next day after we had.
I had no
a couple weeks
hangover.
ago.
I had.
He's like, man, I had
it was
4
just-
beers.
It was just a normal buzz.
Yeah.
Me and Dom meet there almost every Friday until the shutdown. And we had a rule. 4 beers and we had to go home or it's bad.
like
So we used to tell Adam, like, listen, buddy, you need to make us a beer that we can have
Right.
more than 3 or 4
Exactly.
and be able to get home.
right.
And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like maybe like a
I
3-5, buddy, like something. Because
I
it's
stopped drinking.
They
Darlene.
used to make
We just
3-2
had 'em
beer
on-
when you were
that would be
18
the last
before you were
episode, right?
21.
You'd be the last episode, right?
It'd have been 2.
Okay,
Yeah, 2 episodes.
Well, anyway, so we had
I
him
got you.
on, and I stopped drinking about 20 minutes before the show was about to end. I got my life a little back again. Not more effed up after pausing.
Yeah, I hear
And
you.
listen, and it's not about, Modern Methods, their beer is really awesome. You get the little shot things going on. It's really good.
The flight. He's talking about the flight.
Right. But,
Okay.
if you have to take a whole glass of that 9.5, you can't enjoy the next one. To the face. Yeah, it's like the next one comes and it could just be pick a number on the board, you know? And some people don't like doing that shit. Some people just want that Miller or that.
When I go down there, I stick to just Darlene because it's
I'm
5, whatever he's telling on that board. It is.
It's going to be their number one beer only because it's going to bring the most people in,
and I agree,
that are going to start with that motherfucker.
I 100% agree.
And they can probably drink a bunch of them by the campfire,
right? And then if you're gonna be there and have 3 of those, you get to go home.
Listen,
you're gonna have 7 of them. Might as well just
you
go
know
ahead
our
and
buddy Dom. Dom can, he's like 4 and I'm done, bro. Like, that should tell you something. We're out of here. And I used to tell him, like, Adam, we enjoy visiting your establishment. We would like to stay longer.
Oh yeah.
So you would make a beer that made a little bit more sense for us to stay a little longer. We'll be here.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm hoping Panther Town's it because I'll be happy with that.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you, man.
I cannot hear myself. We're gonna
obviously he's drunk.
Well, I'm riding the gain a little
real
bit,
quick though. Before we go, man, I get to say before we go on this one, only because you guys are just bullshitting so much. Your work. Where do we find your work?
Good job. Look, he's going down the list.
Wow.
This is the
How do people find and buy your art?
You can go to
online Instagram.
Burkey Art on Facebook.
You want to spell that out for the people that don't know how to spell Berkey?
Burkey.
Good job.
Art, just like it sounds.
On Facebook or Instagram.
Instagram. So can you make purchases right over Instagram?
You just DM me and I've sold a lot of pieces.
Got the old
Instagram.
DM going on.
Yeah. Barry had a website a while ago. Actually, here's some possibility. I'll reinforce you with your trade deal that you were propositioning earlier. Barry has had a website earlier and he used to sell his stuff right off the website.
Yes.
And Brandon's experienced in that, so maybe this could be a love connection of sorts.
Yes.
I don't know what the commission rates on those other ones are, but my commission is
Well, I'm just telling you this. You see this painting right here? That painting right there is a $2,500 minimum purchase.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Easily. So we're going to send that to a friend, and then he'll pop it, and we'll put another one on there. But anyways, you could do that because Brandon's websites are right about the same. Like 5 pages, you can sell. You have the site, where you can, what do they call that? Where you're buying stuff on the site.
I actually have a couple art and commission type applications that go on the website as well. So long story short, Barry.
Yeah.
Maybe we can team up. Throw you a little bone. You can throw me a little bone.
Hey, you guys can make love off air.
Yeah,
if you need to.
Sure.
Just saying.
Barry's a good dude out there, guys.
We'll definitely do another episode and dig deeper into it.
Well, we could definitely. This could be one of those things where we could keep going because I think we just kind of touched the surface.
Yeah.
In particular, especially the economics of it. I think you asked some really great questions, and I think that if we got on the other side of it with pricing and how to do a show and how to market yourself and things of that nature, that was kind of the idea of the IAA originally when we first started talking about it, because after Barry had we always joke about it, but he's legit. Like, he'll be like, because it's funny. He'll be like, I'm a trailblazer, which is true. But
trailblazing, eyebrow raising.
But it's true. So he trailblazed so that you had the knowledge afterwards to go, you know what? Here's what works for a solo show on a level where you're not, he's gotten to a point where people are buying his stuff from outside the region.
Right.
But initially you're starting and you're casting a small net. It's the fruit on the vine. It's
without a question.
And so that's why we started talking about the IAA, where it was like, how do we help these young cats, or could be older cats? You'd meet people that worked in the mill for 40 years, always wanted to do art.
Right.
And they had no idea how to do it. And then they were like, hey, I want to be a part of the IAA. Well,
people need to know, not only do I need to know as a consumer, but I think artists need to know as an artist, what are you worth right now?
Well, I'll tell you a quick story. So, Jim, like we talked earlier, bought one of my first original pieces. And Doc Sabatini came to me and said, hey, I want you to do a piece for my office of Portofino.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. And he's like, I want it big. So I did, it was a 48 by 60 piece. And I go, Doc,
man,
this took me a long time. and this is going years back. So I was like, and I was like shy to how to ask him, like kind of like $1,000 for this. And he goes, all right. And I was weird asking to him, and he handed me a check, and it was for $3,200. He goes, that's what it's worth to me. He said, quit selling yourself short.
Right.
And I learned a huge lesson that day. Like, dude, my art's worth more than, I put a lot of time in that, quit selling myself short. And I think a lot of artists sell themselves short. So I've gone around and I bought art from other artists. Like, hey, I want 50. Well, here's 100. Keep it. Like, what? Like, yeah, dude, it's not $50.
Nice. Yeah.
You're selling yourself short. So that's how I've always tried to help out other artists. Like, quit thinking you're only worth $30 or $40 because what you're making is worth a lot more than that.
Right.
And that's why the whole point of the IA was helping artists understand the value behind them. Because like we were talking when we started making art, and the tag wouldn't help us back in the day. And it wasn't so much the tag, maybe the person working that day.
Yeah, we're not
didn't want to help you out.
Right.
It was like, hey man, let's help all artists understand like you're worth more than 20 or 40 or 50 what you're selling it for. And that's going back to what Doc Sab did for me, whereas you're worth more than that. And people, once they see something, like how many times have you bought something because it meant something, you didn't care what the price was.
Right.
And that's art is also like, dude, I love the fact I got original pieces in my house that no one else has, and they mean something to me. And I don't care what the price was.
But we're also in a consumer world of this generation that we're in. I don't know if you can speak for yourself, but at least us, is we're no longer the loyal Sears refrigerator TV customers anymore. Our generation is all about what can we find at the best rate on Amazon, Best Buy, Home Depot, whatever it may be. So it's it's kind of scary, and I get why
but
people like
you're
Home
looking
Depot and shit like get profit like that. But there's something personable, like I said,
because you can't look at art
I don't
like
want that fucking Hobby Lobby thing in my daughter's room.
Yeah,
because it means nothing.
But where
to
do
you.
I begin?
You can't look at art as an appliance. It's not an appliance. It's not like I'm going to go buy a refrigerator.
Oh, I'm not looking at that. What I'm saying is that our era of people are becoming less and less loyal to any type of consumer.
But what I'm saying is when you look on your wall, most people have pictures of their family, and that art just speaks the same thing that your family speaks to you.
Oh, that's what's up.
To put on your wall.
There you go.
And that's the truth. Like everything on my wall is my children, my wife, and art that means the world to me.
Right.
And there's nothing on there that's not original. My children are original. My marriage is original. My art is original. So you take your Kohl's and home shit and shove it up your ass because it's garbage.
Right.
Because if you live in a $300,000-$400,000 home and you're putting Kohl's shit on your wall, shame on you.
Right.
Because there's original art everywhere.
100.
Yeah.
100.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the truth, man.
Just play that in the beginning of this podcast and then
forget everything else we
That's
talked
the opening. We cut the whole rest of the show. No,
I've had fun.
I've had a blast. It's been an education too because it's a different perspective, even from a generational standpoint. See, I think we're from the same generation, really.
Right.
Yes.
But people like cut it off and say, and what you were talking about earlier was this idea that the loyalty between brands. Yeah. And so we're Gen X. We're very skeptical. But see, I think we're all kind of
right.
I think your cutoff is a different cutoff or whatever, but I think we're all skeptical, but we're also loyal to the brand.
Yes.
We're sitting here drinking Modern Methods because we had a great time. We enjoyed the product, blah, 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 whatever it is. Obviously, I'm using that. It doesn't have to be that. It could be whatever. But the idea that you don't necessarily, you're skeptical of the product and the product has to deliver. And if it doesn't, so the deliverables of art are what? Someone walks into your home and says, where'd you get that from? That's pretty dope. In the out term of when you see it, you're buying it for you, right? It speaks to you, to Barry's point. When should you buy a piece? You should buy a piece when it speaks to you. When you see it on the wall and you go, I gotta have that. That's awesome. Yeah. And you probably, you might. It's okay to say, I have an idea of where that's gonna go over my couch or in the foyer or whatever it is. It speaks to you. You get it. It's personal. But when someone comes in the crib and goes, dude, what is it? Where'd you get that at? Who is that? And then you can go, and that's part of the process too. Pass it on to say, yo, that's a Barry Berkey or
right.
a Jim Saatchi or a Dom Nicastro.
Not
or
a K,
a Shooting.
KOALS.com.
Right. And listen, those guys are all getting like mad money to make on the commercial pieces too. I'm not knocking them too. The Thomas Kincaids out there of the world, like God bless you. That's freaking awesome.
And I know we're 10 years apart, and you were just talking about this, but I just wanted to share this real quick.
Yeah.
I don't like to look at it as 10 years apart. I like to look at it as the 5 years that I was just starting something and the 5 years that you guys were just ending something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the thing about a generational gap.
Like a decade. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you guys already knew the shit. You guys were teaching me how to fucking respect the shit. So that has nothing to do with, I guess, any of this shit. But we're fucking. I got mad respect for you guys.
So in retrospect, wrapping up, this has been
we've been everywhere on this. Show.
We've traveled a gamut of emotional high points and low points. Art. We've talked about crazy parties and Brandon's band house, which I'm jealous of because it sounds
I had
awesome.
like one awesome year. Like
Barry and I talked about having like a house. You actually had the house with your dudes. Like that's pretty rad.
Oh, it was a good year. Yeah.
So until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will leave you with this. If you are with friends, socially distance and be responsible, but you can still have a cold Darlene
and buy original art.
And buy original art. Run us down the 10-second real quick because I want to put it in. BerkeyArt.com. Like, give us the thing.
Berkey Art on Facebook and Instagram.
And possibly coming soon. Website.
Coming soon, yeah. I mean, Brandon over here, he's ready.
Boom. Making connections. I love it.
We do.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, lovers, and friends, this has been a episode that could be fiction or it could be the truth. We're not really sure.
It might be incomplete.
Or it could be
and only Darlene knows.
A journey book. You get to pick what page you want to.
So if you want to go and try to find out where we actually are at, you come down to Modern Methods on Dave Grohl Alley.
There might be a part 2.
And get your car wash on the way in.
Don't come with
five car washes from Coates Car Care around.
Don't come with a dirty car.
Yeah, don't come with
Do not come to this podcast with a dirty car. Until the next time you're ready to get electrified, be kind to one another, love each other, and
so long.